Good morning to everybody, and apologies also for my on-screen image. And thank you very much for inviting me to speak at your conference today. As David said, the pandemic has caused us to change many things in our daily lives. And this morning's event is a great example of how we are adapting to these challenges thanks to technology. However, last week I had a very different experience. I met the chairman of a large rail freight company, and the meeting took place at Sloane Square in Chelsea, under the awning of a shop that had been closed due to the restrictions, and it was pouring with rain, with 2 takeaway coffees, and we resembled 2 relics from the Cold War. So as Elizabeth said, I'm John Williams, chairman and owner of Maritime Transport, one of the largest privately owned transport companies in the country, the largest container transport company by some margin, and now the 3rd largest intermodal operator with 10 trains per day connecting the ports of Felixstowe, London Gateway on the Thames, and Southampton to our inland rail terminals at Trafford Park, Birmingham Intermodal Freight Terminal at Tamworth, Wakefield, Tilbury, and East Midlands Gateway. And starting last week, a rail service from the Port of Liverpool to East Midlands Gateway. I think it's the first time a southbound train has run from Liverpool in over 30 years. We only commenced our rail adventure on the 1st of April last year, just 20 months ago from a standing start. And I'm speaking to you today from our headquarters here at the Port of Felixstowe. And you should be able to see behind me the giant cranes that populate the port. I have this image on my bedroom wall as well. The port has been in the news a great deal recently due to frustrated importers being unable to get their goods in time for Christmas due to congestion. Congestion is not exclusive to Felixstowe. All ports and inland terminals have been similarly affected. And so to provide you with some context this morning, I acquired Maritime from Hutchison Whampoa, owners of the Port of Felixstowe, Harwich in Essex, Thamesport in Kent, and over 60 ports worldwide on September 2001, 7 days before the terrorist attacks in America on September the 11th. And back then we had 137 trucks and 5 depots, and revenues of £18 million with little or no profit. Fast forward 20 years, we now operate 2,000 trucks, 10 trains daily, to over 5 rail terminals, and operate from over 30 transport depots in the country, and now with a turnover of nearly £500 million. I have successfully convinced my wife that we haven't made a penny profit in all of this time, which allows me to reinvest all our profits and indulge in my passion, which is maritime. So to the agenda, question 1, what does the future look like for maritime and other big business? There are over 68 million of us in the UK, all consumers. We export very little. There is a major shift to home delivery, which creates additional transport demand for full loads and for vans. The government has declared a net zero carbon target for 2030, and we are facing a chronic shortage of Class 1 HGV drivers. Non-British European drivers are underpinning the supply of drivers and warehouse personnel throughout the supply chain. So our strategy to meet the challenge, we want to develop the best hub and spoke operation in the UK. We want to expand the number of rail terminals. We want to expand the capacity of our rail terminals. We want to increase the number of trains we operate. And we want to increase the length of those trains. We also want to convert domestic distribution into containers for intermodal transport via rail. So how will we do this? Currently, the government subsidises intermodal containers by rail. It's called Modal Shift Revenue Support, MSRS, by just over £20 million in total to all rail freight companies in the industry. This is a tiny amount of money. It costs over £1 million a year to load and unload a train at any of the ports. So that subsidy and more goes towards paying the ports. There are a total of 70 intermodal services from the Port of Felixstowe, London Gateway, and DP World Southampton combined. So that's £70 million of cost to the rail companies and £70 million worth of revenue to the ports. And here's the thing, road haulage gets a free pass. There's no charge for goods going by road to and from the ports. There are 5,000 vehicles per day in and out of Felixstowe, 2,500 from Southampton, and 1,500 from London Gateway, as the deep sea ports are located in the south of the country and most of the markets are in the Midlands and the north. These vehicles are taking 3 to 4 hours en route to their destinations, congesting the A12 and A14 from Felixstowe, the M25 from London Gateway, and the M3 out of Southampton. So our proposal, ports should recover the cost of servicing rail by introducing a climate levy charge on goods by going by road. Rail should get the free pass, resulting in a significant economic advantage which will produce real change. That modal shift subsidy, that tiny £20 million, should be redirected to converting UK domestic distribution, the largest market segment in the UK by far. Virtually no domestic loads go via rail other than from Scotland to England, and we're very enthusiastic to try and convince Nestle, Mars, Amazon, and others to convert into containers by rail. In addition, the government needs to accelerate the removal of restrictions in the railway network to create more pathways for freight, especially in Ely and Cambridge, to access the East Coast Main Line, which is so important to the East Midlands. Moving on, question 2, sustainability. My fleet of vehicles perform over 3 million miles per week, consume over £1.5 million of diesel per week, and we deliver approximately 30,000 loads a week. One train can reduce the number of trucks on our roads by over 17,000 trucks per year. In 2019, the introduction of our rail division, Maritime Intermodal, reduced our carbon emissions by 21%. Evacuating containers to inland rail terminals will ease congestion and allow us to operate first and final mile operations. Localizing this transport will make it viable, more viable for alternative fuels, as the vehicles won't require a network of refueling points. And it will be much easier for us to recruit drivers, as these types of driving positions are much more attractive. Furthermore, we need to lobby the Office of the Transport Commissioners to make it a condition of the road haulier's operator's licence for the operator to provide secure parking for all of their vehicles, all of the time, and their loads, and for the welfare of drivers. This can prevent lorries from littering and loitering in laybys when away from their base. Developers and planners need to incorporate more on-site parking for incoming deliveries, not just loading bays in distribution centres. That's why all the laybys and Donington services and Leicester Forest East are used as holding areas outside of distribution centres. And finally, question 3, opportunities for Freeport. And I'm very pleased to be involved in this fantastic bid. I think the Freeport application is a compelling bid, connecting East Midlands Airport and the railport to the vast land opportunity at East Midlands Gateway and Uniper's Ratcliffe-on-Soar site and the wider East Midlands region. The Freeport bid needs to be manufacturing and export-led. Logistics can play its full part and support the plan to create the route to market, connecting air freight, sea freight, road and rail freight. And to illustrate the point, we opened the rail terminal at East Midlands Gateway on the 28th of February, where one did not exist previously. We now have 5 daily services and have created over 100 jobs under phase 1 of this development, and we are now full. We have invested over £5 million in phase 1 so far, and have plans now to advance phase 2 by 2 years by acquiring a further 15 acres on the other side of the track that you can see there, 2 more rail tracks, the installation of 4 rail-mounted gantry cranes, and the construction of a 20,000 square foot facility dedicated to our intermodal operation. In total, an investment by Maritime of over £20 million with no subsidy from any other source. This investment does not include the cost of the land or the construction of the terminal, which is part of the agreement that we have with SEGRO. So thank you for listening, and I would now like to pass you back to Elizabeth Fagan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. And it's wonderful to see such exciting development and investment going on in our region. And my thanks to Maritime, not for what you have done already, and particularly in that sustainability and bringing the concept of intermodal transport and the drive for rail network development, but also what you are going to do with us as you continue to work with us in the future. So my appreciation, thank you, it's been a pleasure and will continue to be a pleasure working with you as we look to bring Freeport into the East Midlands to ensure that that development around your area continues to benefit the whole of the country, as you say, not just the East Midlands. So thank you, John.
Thank you.
I think we're now going to pass over to Sajida for the next poll, if that's...
Thank you, Elizabeth. So we now want to hear from you on the second poll. Given where we are and all the challenges that we know from the impact of COVID and all the globalization and challenges that John's just talked about, what do you see from your individual perspectives and sectors as being the challenges over the next 12 months? So this disappears quite quickly, so you've got 10 seconds. So we'd really like to capture your views, and this could help to feed into our plans and our partner plans over the coming months. So please share your views from your individual perspectives, and we'll share the results again. So thank you very much, and back to you, Elizabeth. Can we unmute Elizabeth, please?
Sorry, host is trying to unmute me. I'm trying to unmute myself. I'm a slow learner in this world.
So technology.
Yeah, no, I'm not mastered it. I'd now like to welcome Tim Freeman. Tim is the Deputy Managing Director of Toyota. Tim joined Toyota as a production manager in 2003 and has filled a variety of roles, including Director of Production Operations and Production Vice President at Toyota, Peugeot Citroën Automobile in the Czech Republic. Many of you will know that Toyota has been building cars in Britain since 1992, when the Burnaston factory in Derbyshire came on stream as Toyota's first manufacturing centre in Europe. In July, the car plant there produced its 4.5 millionth vehicle. And I'm delighted to say that in September of this year, Tim joined the D2N2 board as one of our private sector representatives. So thank you, Tim, and over to you, please.
So can we just unmute Tim?
Yeah, I'm just unmuted now. Thank you, Sajida. Just trying to start the video. It won't start. Okay, well, let's make a start. So good morning, everyone. I'm delighted to be able to present to you this morning. So let me start by saying a few words about the Toyota UK operation. So we have two manufacturing sites, an engine plant in Deeside, North Wales, and we have a vehicle plant in Burniston near Derby. Both plants started production in 1992 and currently employ around 3,200 people. 95% of the vehicles we produce are hybrid, and over 80% are exported to the EU. Try to forward. Okay, so for this presentation, I'll cover the following 3 points. Firstly, the opportunities and challenges for the transition to decarbonisation. Then Toyota's global green ambitions and the emerging opportunities. And then finally, what this could mean for the East Midlands. We recognise that the automotive world is changing, and this is being driven by these 4 key disruptors: the changing customer values and needs, new technology advancements, new competitors, very different competitors for the automotive world, and the new regulations as the world focuses more on decarbonisation. And the impact of these disruptors on the automotive world is being accelerated through CASE. So for connected, innovative technology enhancements are enabling greater connectivity between cars and service providers. For the A, already cars are achieving level 4 autonomous driving, although the driver still needs to be present. And they're progressing towards level 5, full autonomous vehicle, where there is no driver intervention required. For the S, greater urbanisation is leading to a reduction in the private ownership of cars. Consumers are switching more towards car sharing services. And we believe by 2025, only 1/3 of the new vehicle sales will be into the private market. Currently, it's around 2/3. And for electrification, Toyota has been leading the electrification of cars with hybrid technology and is developing further towards zero emission vehicles through the battery electric and fuel cell vehicles. Akio Toyoda, our global president, calls these changes a once-in-a-century period of profound transformation. Toyota actually started out manufacturing looms, and in 1937 transformed the business to become a car company. We now need to transform the business again